Welcome to Future Proof Your Leadership, the Visibility Edge for 2026. So today we're going to be talking about visibility and how that relates to research that I did, leadership scene, and how that relates to you and your brand. So let me see here. And you were still seeing my slides, yes?
We certainly are, Carol. Perfect.
Okay, so I'm Carol Kaemmerer. I want to also, before we get too far down the road, acknowledge my wing woman, Kathleen Caldwell, who is the founder of Caldwell Consulting and the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council of the C-Suite Network. She is also my coach, my friend, my mentor, and today my wing woman, who is going to make sure that the chat is taking off. All right. So if you don't know me, I am best known for my book, LinkedIn for the Savvy Executive, Promote Your Brand with Authenticity, Tact, and Power. And my favorite award is Book Authority's Best LinkedIn Books of All Time award. You've probably seen me around on LinkedIn, but here are some places that I have either spoken or contributed my thought leadership in articles. And today, the structure of our briefing is that we're going to do an overview of the aims and the methodology of the resources of the research, and then we are going to look at what women told us and their background, obviously, and then how does what they told us reflect on what we need to do to make sure that we have the best 2026. And then at the end, I have an offering that has grown right from this research, from the richness of the data and the voices of the women who spoke to me. So how did we do this? My aim was to look at the influence and the visibility and the career progression of senior level leaders. I wanted to know just how things went, what were the barriers, what were the things that were going well. We combined both quantitative and qualitative questions so that I had rich data, actual in the voice of the customer data, telling me exactly what they thought. Some of the data was, check here, but all those qualitative questions were so exciting to do that deep dive and try to figure out what were the major themes that were coming through. We recruited our sample through, I guess you can't call it a sample, our audience that participated through my network, through LinkedIn, through the Women's Coaching and Consulting Council and the C-Suite Network and Leadership Global. Thank you for all those people who participated, and thank you also for those people who were my cheerleaders in this. We did all of the research gathering in the last 2 weeks of July. So why did I do this at all? I have been working with senior level leaders on their branding, their visibility, their influence for about 15 years now. And I've seen so many women leaders come up to that brick wall that they didn't create for themselves. Some of them navigate it well, and some don't. That's what I wanted to find out. That's what I wanted to study. I also did this research because the leadership pipeline in the US and probably in the rest of the developed world is leaking. Some of my friends in HR say it's gushing, Carol, it's gushing. And it's gushing not only men, but at a greater speed, it's gushing women. And when a senior woman leaves corporate, they take with them their expertise, their experience, and they take the hope of every woman who remains. Another thing that is true that I found through this research is that talent alone does not ensure career progression. It doesn't ensure forward momentum. Without visibility, so many people are overlooked. And so that is what we're going to dive into, looking at that level. I want to assure you that I'm not bypassing the organizational things that stop us. I'll be addressing those through meetings with SHRM and corporate leaders. But today is all about you and about what we can do to make sure that our career is teed up for 2026. Yes. So this is my group. I want to share with you what the group looked like. 90% are from the US, 10% from outside. And we have a broad range of sectors represented here. We heard that 56% or so are no longer in corporate. They have titles like founder and co-founder, entrepreneur, business owner, coach, consultant. Perhaps they have titles like yours. So we also did have C-suite executives and all of the other corporate titles. And the group was experienced both in work and in years lived. So over half of them had 30 years or more experience in professional roles, and they were predominantly in their 50s or their 60s. So we have a very experienced group. This is what they told me about things that limited their own careers. So these were forced choice in that I provided these choices, but they were allowed to pick more than one. And as you look at these, I would invite you to put in the chat some of the limiting factors that you might have experienced. So we have internal company politics, my branding and positioning, age or gender bias, personal priority shifts, and lack of visibility or sponsorship. Some of these are very hard to have in our day-to-day experience much impact on. Industry, age, and gender bias is one of those. Internal company politics is one of those. So we just have to navigate around those. And the two primary levers that I see are my personal branding and positioning and visibility. And so those are the ones that I'm going to emphasize over and over again, that because they're emphasized in my data. These are the levers that we have the possibility of pulling, and also that we have the possibility of using to fuel our careers going forward. We asked women in a qualitative question, what points of momentum slow had they seen? What was the first time they saw a momentum slow in their career? And this was a question where people wrote paragraphs. But the primary topic areas were plateaus at the director and senior director level, midlife transitions. Of the people who actually named an age, 5 of 6 of them said 50. And then becoming a parent. So we can probably relate to all of those. This was the question that just made me the angriest. And it was, I asked them, have you ever been told, either directly or indirectly, that you were too indispensable in your role to be promoted? Now, to companies' credit, I suppose, more than half of them said no. But an astounding 43% said yes, that had happened to them. And they had been told that they were indispensable. Now, whenever you see on my slides something in script, that is a direct quote from one of our respondents. And what I see with that comment that you are too indispensable is praise as a prison. This person is either going to stay there forever or they've got to break out. And of course, this person that I chose the quote from decided the latter. So I mentioned that visibility is a primary thing, a primary lever that we can pull. And one of the things that really heartened me was that of the women who had used personal branding or LinkedIn experts over time, they were 3 times more likely to see their career as accelerating or ready for the next leap than those people who had not used any outside help. So I asked them, because LinkedIn is the obvious place to start your visibility journey. I asked them about LinkedIn, and no one said that they didn't use LinkedIn. About 5% said that they hadn't done anything on LinkedIn since they put their profile up. That was painful. About half said that they were strategic and active. I've subsequently heard from other people that they lied. I wish that I had quantified this more, because giving a thumbs up is not being active on LinkedIn, however much you wish it were. But there are truly barriers to being active on LinkedIn, and they are time, concern about whether this is really worth it. The return on investment is low, they are perceiving. There's the fear of penalty. And the one that is incredibly actionable is that they were unclear about their personal branding and unsure how to navigate that in LinkedIn. So being responsible for your brand, being responsible for being visible, those are things that are your personal responsibility, but we don't have to do them alone. And in fact, outside helpers can surely help. People like me. So the challenge here is that we need to be ready for 2026. And in order to do that, it's time to step up. there are so many factors, and your competition is stepping up. We need to recognize this is the time to dig down, to be more active and more engaged with our brand and our visibility than ever before. I want to say, not just on LinkedIn, also in person. The notion of developing personal presence is also so important. So here are 3 questions that I pose to you, and I'd like to suggest that you even take a screenshot of these, because I think that these are important questions to help you plan in 2026. Number 1, does my LinkedIn profile clearly position me for the roles I aspire to next? Most people have not attended their profile in many years, and what their profile prepares them for is what they did 5 years ago. If that's not what they want to do next, that's the right thing. That's not the right thing. So, and number 2, am I showing up consistently through posting, commenting, sharing my thought leadership so that others recognize my expertise? And number 3, who is speaking my name in rooms I cannot enter? And how am I nurturing those relationships? So these are all questions relating to our brand and our visibility. And these are questions that for sure we are going to address in my next offering, which I'm going to share with you now. So this is my visibility and voice intensive. It is a high impact boutique offering where in 90 days, senior level women will come together to align their LinkedIn presence, sharpen their leadership voice, and build sustainable visibility practices. Why? Why would we do that? So that we can be seen as the leader we are now. So that when doors open to real opportunities, we are the obvious choice. We're set up to head into 2026 with confidence. So this is an exclusive by invitation program, and it's limited in number, so that I've decided to do the screening by screening form first, and then there'll be a conversation. So if what we've talked about today has stirred anything in you, I invite you to take the next step with me. Complete the QR code, complete the form, which you can find on this QR code. And Kathleen is also putting the URL for the screening form in the chat. So if you would access that today, I would be so delighted to see you there. The form tells you a little bit more about the program, and if it looks like we have the possibility of a fit, we will have a one-on-one Zoom conversation, and I look forward to that. So let me leave you with this. Visibility is your responsibility, and no one else can do it for you. But you don't have to do it alone. It's not about being loud or obnoxious and braggy. It is about being clear about the leader you are. It's about taking control, being intentional about what you communicate about who you are. If you're ready to take the next step to make sure your 2026 is your best year ever, to be prepared, confident, and seen as the leader you are today, I invite you to do the next thing. Visit my form, fill it out. I'm so excited to curate this magnificent experience that will move you from unseen to in demand. Thank you. If you would like to come off mute and chat about anything that we talked about, I would love to interact with you.
So Carol, what in your program, what is the process, or do you have a process for making people aware of how to update their conversation? It's not just using current words with old trends. We could talk about change or the lack thereof, or whatever is the same topic people have been talking about. But what is a new, how do people get a new lens for looking at themselves so they can write about them or be visible in a more relevant fashion?
Okay, so the very first thing that we do in the program is not in the group, it is one-on-one, and it is a discovery conversation. I am so good at surfacing some of the key strengths of the people that I'm interviewing. I can pull those out and reflect them to you, and you would be surprised. So you're getting the extra lens from me. I also have several different frameworks for sharpening our discussion and introduction goodies about ourselves. How can we introduce ourselves and make our leadership voice clear? I have lots of different formulas and exercises for doing that. And I really enjoy being able to share with them with people, because they were insightful to me and they will be insightful to others. So that's how we approach it. And then there are some other things that we will do in terms of background education about what does it mean to be visible on LinkedIn, and what return on investment can we expect? LinkedIn is not like Facebook. And in the last 2 years, they've certainly made that point abundantly clear as they narrowed and narrowed and narrowed the people who have the opportunity to see our stuff. But over time, if you are active, people see that every time they are on LinkedIn, they're seeing something that you commented on. They are seeing your thought leadership. Whether they're bothering to comment or not, you may be the person that they are tracking. And I think that is really a different lens than most people are expecting. They're expecting, thousands of likes. And that only happens when you show a picture of your car that crashed and talk about the healthcare that you got and that you're surprised you're still alive. Then we get the thousands of comments or the thousands of thumbs up. But honestly, I think you have to take a longer view. It's just like the stock market. It's not what happened today, but what is happening over a period of time.
Thank
Carol,
you.
I would also say that you also have a pulse on top thought leaders around the world, and you are a student of what is working now. What's working now is not what was working at the beginning of the year. And so, meeting the moment, and you are so excellent at that to be able to see and give frameworks on how to be relevant, how to be visible, and how to do it in a way where you have a system. So I know in your program you're going to share that this is not a hit and miss kind of thing for the folks in your cohort, that they're going to have systems that they can use to elevate their visibility and to have that visibility matter in a way that turns into new income, new revenue, new opportunities, new promotions, whatever is important. So I just wanted to put that in as well, that this is not hit and miss. When you have a guide like you, Carol, that there's a methodology that can be followed based on top thought leadership strategies.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here and for listening to the replay. And I am delighted to help you move forward in 2026.